Have you ever just stopped and thought about how fast AI is moving? I mean, 1 minute it feels like science fiction.
And the next, it's optimizing real-world systems right in front of us. The pace is just
Yeah, it's exhilarating, right?
right.
And that speed, that constant evolution is exactly why we're here. Welcome to the deep dive. We try to cut through all the noise, get straight to what matters.
Exactly. And today, our mission is to unpack the key stuff from the AI Daily News Digest for June 18th, 2025. Lots happening, model releases, agent breakthroughs, hardware, even the talent race.
Yeah, because you're looking for that quick, solid understanding, right? The so what behind the headline.
And this deep dive, well, it's designed to give you exactly that, those aha moments, connecting the dots on what's really significant in AI right now. No need to wade through everything yourself.
Yeah, let's jump right in then. First big thing. Google's Gemini 2.5 models, they're out of preview, generally available now. What's the big deal here beyond just, the official launch?
Well, what's really interesting are the details coming out, especially there's this hefty 30-page technical report.
30 pages. Okay.
Yeah. So Gemini 2.5 Pro and Flash, those are now stable, ready for prime time. Flash Lite and the big one, Ultra, they're still in preview, though.
So it's Google saying, okay, these are ready for wider use.
Pretty much. It's solidifying this latest generation. But the details, like that flashlight model you mentioned, that's where it gets interesting.
I heard something about speed there. What's the buzz? Speed feels like a huge focus now.
Oh, absolutely. Speed is the name of the game for Flashlight. They're talking about possibilities over 400 tokens per second.
400 tokens.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and that kind of speed, it really opens up completely new potential uses. Think about like a conceptual neural OS, an AI that's so responsive it could almost feel like part of the operating system.
A neural OS. That's a wild concept.
It is. And it's also important they're described as sparse mixture of experts transformers, MOE, with native multimodal support.
Okay, MOE. Mixture of experts. Can you break that down a bit?
Yeah.
And multimodal. What's that really mean here?
Sure. So MOE, think of it like having a team of specialists inside the AI model. Instead of one massive brain trying to do everything, it can call on specific experts for different parts of a task. It's much more efficient.
Got it. Like a specialized team.
Exactly. And native multimodal just means it can understand and work with different types of information, text, images, maybe even video, all seamlessly together. It really gets concepts that combine these things.
That efficiency sounds key.
Yeah.
What about its actual smarts, its capabilities? Anything really jump out from that technical report?
Oh, yeah. The report shows some seriously impressive long horizon planning. There was this one example getting a lot of attention. A fully autonomous Gemini agent played Pokemon, the original game, and it completed the entire game in half the time it took the original project it was based on.
Completed the whole game autonomously. That's not trivial.
Yeah, not at all. It shows incredible planning and execution ability. Most AI struggles with multi-step tasks needing foresight. This suggests Gemini is moving beyond just reacting towards actual strategic thinking. That's huge for things like project management, science.
Right, thinking steps ahead. But I've heard some rumblings, about user experience, some inconsistencies maybe. Is it all running perfectly for people actually trying to use Gemini 2.5?
That's a really important point, deployment versus research. And yeah, there have been some challenges reported. For instance, the stable 2.5 Pro, it now needs what they call a thinking budget.
The thinking budget.
Yeah, basically a minimum allocation of, I think it's 128 tokens. And the problem was some platforms defaulted that to 0. So boom, API errors for some users.
Oh, okay, so a practical snag.
Exactly, a bit of friction. And also, it kind of looks like the new stable 2.5 Pro. Well, technically, it's identical to the version that was in preview before.
So no actual benchmark improvements.
Doesn't seem like it. More like a branding update, getting it officially stable. Although, interestingly, the price for Flash did go up.
Huh. So it's that balance then between the cutting-edge research and making it stable and usable, even if it means maybe not pushing every single performance number on day one of general availability?
Precisely. Sometimes stability and predictability for developers using the API are the priority for a GA release.
Okay, so models are getting smarter, planning better, but what about when they start acting more? AI agents seem to be everywhere now.
They really are, and this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. Sakana AI's AL agent. They just did something pretty remarkable.
Okay, what do they achieve?
So Sakana AI created this new benchmark, AL Bench. It's specifically for these really tough optimization problems, NP hard problems, technically. Super complex stuff.
Right, the kind of problems that are notoriously difficult to solve perfectly.
Exactly. Then their agent, the ALE agent, actually competed in a live at-coder contest. That's a real-time programming competition with humans.
A live contest, how'd it do?
It ranked 21st out of about 1,000 human participants.
21st out of 1,000. That's top 2% territory.
Astonishing, right? It's not just solving a theoretical problem, it's performing at a really high level, under pressure, against skilled humans. Shows real practical problem-solving chops.
That really is impressive.
Yeah.
And it ties into this whole idea of agents, which brings us to something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Sounds like the underlying tech for agents is getting serious.
Yeah, the MCP ecosystem's definitely maturing. It's about standardizing how these agents communicate and function. For example, Docker, the container people.
Sure, yeah.
They've just launched a beta for an MCP catalog and toolkit. The whole idea is to make it way easier for developers to deploy the server-side stuff needed for these agents.
So lowering the barrier to entry for building and running agents. Makes sense.
Exactly. Less complex setup, more focus on the agent logic itself. Critical infrastructure work.
Are other big names getting involved in building out this agent infrastructure?
Absolutely. Block, the company formerly known as Square, they've released this really detailed playbook.
A playbook.
Yeah, for designing MCP servers. And it's based on their own experience building like over 60 of these things internally. So they're sharing practical knowledge, lessons learned.
That's valuable. Sharing the how-to helps everyone move faster.
Definitely. Saves people from reinventing the wheel. And it helps build smarter tools that integrate well with AI systems.
So with this infrastructure getting better, are we seeing any cool open source tools pop up that use this MCP stuff? Things people can actually use?
We are. Some really practical ones, too. Arise AI, they open-sourced a text-to-GraphQL MCP server.
Text-to-GraphQL, what does that do?
Basically, it lets you ask a question in plain English, and it translates that into a very specific, efficient query, a GraphQL query, to pull exactly the data needed from a complex database. Super useful for AI assistants.
Okay, I can see that. Making data access easier for AIs. Any others?
Yeah, another neat one is Attendee MCP. It's a self-hostable meeting bot. Cheaper alternative to the commercial ones, does transcription, summarization, that kind of thing.
Oh, nice. Like your own personal meeting assistant.
Pretty much. It just shows how this underlying MCP work is starting to enable a whole range of different practical applications.
Right. So smarter models, more capable agents, better infrastructure. But none of this happens without, well, the hardware.
Yeah.
And talented people.
Yeah.
Let's talk silicon first. NVIDIA's next-gen 5090. The buzz seems to be really heating up there. What's the word?
Yeah, the rumors are flying. The interesting bit is that the 5090 is reportedly getting close to H100 performance, but specifically in text generation tasks.
Close to H100. That's their top-tier data center chip, right? The 5090 is expected to have lower raw power, lower TFLOPS.
Exactly. That's what's intriguing. Lower TFLOPS, but potentially similar tokens per second. It suggests NVIDIA is making some really significant architectural improvements, getting smarter, more efficient with the power they have.
So efficiency is key, getting more AI performance out of consumer-level hardware.
Seems to be the focus, making that high-end AI inference capability more accessible, potentially.
How does that fit with other players, though? Like Grok. They seem to be taking a totally different path with their hardware architecture.
That's a great point. It really highlights different design philosophies. Grok's architecture, it avoids that constant data shuffling between different types of memory, SRAM and HBM, that traditional GPUs do.
Right, they talk about that bottleneck.
Yeah. Their co-founder, Jonathan Ross, he uses this analogy. He calls their approach a car factory. Everything flows continuously streamlined versus systems that constantly stop and start to swap data.
A car factory versus what? A job shop?
Something like that. It just shows there isn't one single way to build the best AI chip. People are innovating with radically different architectural ideas to optimize for speed and efficiency, especially for inference.
Okay, so hardware's evolving fast, architectures are diverging. But what about the humans driving all this? The race for AI talent seems, well, frankly, kind of insane right now. We're hearing some wild numbers.
Oh, insane is probably the right word. Sam Altman mentioned recently. He commented that Meta is supposedly offering $100 million signing bonuses to lure staff away from OpenAI.
100 million for a signing bonus.
That's the figure he mentioned. Now, he did say he didn't think that was the way to build a great culture, but still.
But it shows the sheer desperation, or maybe valuation, placed on top talent.
Absolutely. It just highlights these intense AI talent wars. Mary Meeker, in her big AI report recently, 340 pages, she basically said the organizations that attract and keep the best developers, those are the ones who will win.
So even with super smart AI, the human element is still seen as the absolute key differentiator.
It seems so. That human ingenuity, the ability to architect these systems, to guide the research, it's still the most critical resource. Companies are willing to pay astronomical sums for it.
It really makes you think, too, about learning. How are new developers supposed to come up in this field when LLMs can write so much code now?
That's a huge discussion happening right now. You see reflections like, there was a story about a Cornell CS intern who apparently used ChatGPT for pretty much all their assignments.
Really? For everything?
Reportedly. And it raises questions, right? How do you learn the fundamentals? What skills are truly essential when the AI can handle so much of the sort of routine coding?
Yeah, does it change what knowing how to code even means?
It might.
Right.
It definitely encourages more critical thinking about, how we actually learn, how we apply knowledge, and how we leverage these incredibly powerful tools effectively, rather than just relying on them blindly. Problem decomposition, critical evaluation, those skills become even more important.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground. Let's recap quickly. We talked Gemini 2.5 going generally available, showing impressive planning, but also some deployment bumps.
Right. Then the agents with Sakana AI's amazing contest result, and the MCP infrastructure getting more mature thanks to Docker, Block, and open source tools.
Then hardware NVIDIA's 5090 hinting at huge efficiency gains, Grok pushing different architectures.
And wrapping up with those AI talent wars, the incredible value placed on human expertise, and even how AI is changing learning itself.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows that, okay, the models are getting incredibly powerful, the tools more accessible.
But the real challenges and opportunities lie in understanding the practical side, the limitations, and how human creativity is still fundamentally steering the ship. It's this interplay between the tech and the people.
Definitely. And that leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. As these AI models get better and better at complex planning, at problem solving, what human skills actually become more valuable, not less? In a world where AI can do tasks that used to define expertise, what truly sets humans apart? What stands out to you from today's deep dive?